Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Business Point on Global Television, where we x-ray Nigeria's economy. We talk about government policies, technology, and innovation. I am Queen Agaba. Today, we will be discussing the critical topic of federal allocation and its pivotal role in driving subnational development. As Nigeria continues to navigate its socio-economic challenges, it is essential to explore how funds distributed to state and local governments can be better utilized to foster growth, reduce inequality, and promote sustainable development at all levels. My guest on the program is John Ochayi, who is a financial analyst, and he will be joined with us after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Business Point on Global Television, where we x-ray Nigeria's economy and government policies. And we're looking at the critical topic of federal allocation and the pivotal role it plays in driving subnational development. As we know, Nigeria continues to navigate its socio-economic challenges, and it's very crucial to explore how these funds distributed to various states and local governments is used and can better utilize or foster growth and also reduce inequality and also promote development at all levels. My guest on the program, John Ochayi, joins me now to discuss further on the matter. Good morning, Mr. John.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Thank you for joining me on the program. Good morning.
You're welcome.
You know, this issue of federal allocation, as we know that these allocations have increased, the allocations for states have astronomically increased, and various allocations. Can you take us through how this allocation system works in Nigeria, particularly the formula used to distribute these funds to states and local governments?
All right. Good morning, viewer out there. Good morning basically, there are a tier of government, and what the federal government does when this FAC is being collected, when revenue is generated, they share the FAC into three, and federal government, state government, and the local government. But as we all know, the local government has just been given an autonomy to operate independently. So when the money is shared, it shares to the federal account, state account, and the local government account. The reason why we are mentioning the local government as at now, it is because the APES court has just given an injunction for local government to operate on their own. and then deal with their issues decisively. So these are basically how monies are shared. So federal government will generate, because we have a joint tax account when these revenues are generated. And once that is done, it will be shared equivocally into the three accounts that I have mentioned.
In your view, is the current formula this, like you just mentioned, between federal, state, and local government, is it adequate to address the developmental needs of, local governments, subnational entities?
There are so many mistakes we make when we come to FAC sharing, and these are the mistakes. The fact that the federal government share the FAC into three, giving federal and state and local government, does not mean that the state shouldn't devise a means to generate their personal revenue and improve their tentacles to, also raise fund from other sources. But what we do in this country is that we over-dependent on the federal government, and you see the federal government is over-bloated. We are looking at it that but the money is so much, but the money is never much. Look, considering the fact our GDP and considering the fact of our expenditure, because most of our money is on expenditure is on recurrent, not capital. And then if you don't spend much on the capital projects, automatically you may not literally generate more revenue. So what are the sectors? What are the areas in which we share this money and spend this money on? So we have to put that into consideration. So it is high time for we not to depend much on FAC. Even FAC is shared, is an advantage to the existing revenue being generated by the state and the local government. So now the local government need to work, the state need to work, and the federal government need to work, not solely on what we generate from the existing revenue that we have. We need to diversify the fund to generate more income. And that is how we will be able to streamline with different sources of income to match up with an expenditure that is at our disposal. If you look at it now, most of the activity of the state is granted because the money is spent on basically on recurrent. So there is no capital project going on mostly in different states. And some states could, based on the sharing formula, could not even do anything on their own part. So on that ground, we need to look beyond the fact, and then the states, local governments should also diversify for them to generate more revenue to complement the existing fact.
Mr. Ochayi, you make mention of looking at other ways we can diversify. Do you want to walk us through examples of how we can you look for alternative ways that we can, without having to rely solely on the allocations for states?
All right. Yes, the states basically depend on the federal government for them to do the needful for their people. No, I think it is high time for us to deviate from that. When these FAC are allocated, well, then the budget is raised in the state. What are the sector do they channel this money to? We have agriculture. We need to look towards agriculture. We need to look towards industrializing the state, because when the state is viable, automatically the federal will be less, preoccupied with a lot of things at their disposal. So it is high time for the state to look inward and begin to look at the other sources of income, just as I mentioned, industry, tourism. They should also look at the agriculture. They should also look at hospitality aspect also, and invest into those sectors that I have mentioned. It will complement the existing allocation being given to them, so that when they begin to generate revenue from those sectors, they will have enough to spend on their people by bringing a better life to a better welfare to our citizens.
Interested, but we've seen states, try to utilize these federal allocations in some of these areas that you have mentioned, like agriculture and even tourism. We've seen to an extent. But let's look at the challenges that some of these states who have, in their bid to be able to effectively utilize these federal allocations face. What are those challenges they
Right.
face?
Yes, there are so many challenges involved, but we have to look beyond those challenges. Yes, the challenges can never be overemphasized. We have security issues as it is right now. We have a shortfall on revenue in the state, but we have to look beyond that. First and foremost, the state needs to come up with a better template that works for her citizens, because government is all about generating revenue
Okay.
and spend the revenue. They are not profit.
Many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Business Point on Global Television, and we've been discussing with Mr. John Ochayi, who is a financial analyst, taking us through the utilization of federal allocations for development. Mr. Ochayi, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, please, you can go ahead walking us through the challenges that states face in, effectively utilizing these allocations.
Okay, one of the problem that the states usually face is a political issues majorly, and then the capacity on how to deal with the needed issues confronting them, because there are some certain issues that is beyond the state, and the state is looking up to the federal government for an assistance. Because despite the fact that we are independent, that the state is independent of the federal, but we are still interdependent on each other. For instance, now, we don't have a state police to cushion the issues of security challenges that we have. So the state have to depend on the federal government to provide the needed security. And if you look at it today, because of the farmers herders conflict going on in Nigeria, a lot of farmers are unable to go to farm to ensure they'll be able to farm to ensure they take care of our citizens. So I think it will be of the opinion that the federal government should provide a needed service to provide those security to cushion the effect of the insecurity ravaging the state. Because if you travel to different states of the federation, you realize that we have laughable security issues in different strata and different board and different states of the nation. So with that, if the farmer are unable to go to farm, even if the state government provide fund for the diversification to ensure that, yes, the farmer goes to their various farm to farm, it will be very difficult for them because the citizens are not protected in their various places. So in other words, you have to look at that and how do we consolidate that? It is just for the federal government intervention to provide the needed securities on that. And then the states may have intentions of investing in tourism, just like I have mentioned, but there are so many tourist places that are not being harvested. So and one of the problems is just licenses, because we look at the situations whereby sometimes when the state government want to embark on some capital project, the states, because the federal government need to intervene by giving license for an approval for the state to. And if the fund is not enough, so there is no form of ways of generating those revenue for them to diversify into those laudable capital project. So that is why when the fund is not enough for them to take care of, and there is no access to those funds, it becomes so difficult and encumbrances to the state. And that is one of the major reasons where sometimes the states are handicapped to make provision, because when you talk about the security, we'll talk about other existing issues that are there. When they don't have enough resources or the revenue generations to complement what the federal government, it becomes an ambiguous in their plan. Solving those issues becomes so difficult for the state. I think these are the reasons where the states have such kind of a problem. And then when you look at the FS foreign exchange rate is also another issue, because when the state doesn't have a needed fund or revenue being generated because of the systemic natures in the country, you find it very difficult, because when a contract is awarded today for a capital project, and when the FS change, it starts the process of the contract MOU being signed. And when that fluctuation of the foreign exchange rate between the dollar and naira, it becomes so difficult for some certain decisions to be taken. Then how do we mitigate such kind of risk that is involved in such kind of a transaction? These are one or two problems that, but a few that we can mention that really affect the state when it comes to issues of dealing with the allocation that goes to state that we mentioned. Then political issues are also there, where the political gladiator think about themselves first before the society. So we understood that when the security vote is being given to the governor, and then you look at the governor couldn't get back to the people to explain how those security votes had been expended.
But corruption and mismanagement, particularly, have often been cited as major issues affecting proper use of these funds. How can we, begin to look or begin to, address this issue of corruption for better accountability?
The corruption is become, I can say, is worse than even the pandemic we experienced a long time ago, because it's systemic. And there are so many processes that we have experienced when it comes to corruption in this part of the world. Because when we talk about corruption, we are only focusing our attention towards the financial corruption. What about the mind corruption? Because when a man doesn't have a conscience, it's even worse than the physical cash trap that we are even experiencing in the part of this society. Because when a man has a conscience, it thinks about the art of school children. When a man has a conscience, he think about the deplorable road. When a man has a conscience, he thinks about the deploration or degradation or of the hospitals. When a man has a conscience, he thinks about how the welfare of the people is. So in a situation when a man's conscience is dead, then all these things will become a self-aggrandizement, self-interest, and looting from there. And these are the things that we have been experiencing, because I wouldn't want to mention names on this platform, but you have seen so many governors who have been arrested. Even as I speak to you, one governor is in a state house to this point that he cannot come out because EFCC is on his trail. That is how bad it could be. And what are we to do to put this system in check? It is our laws. And if our laws are better interpreted, if our laws are better look into to checkmate every processes that is there, it could curtail the whole issues of corruption. Because the issues of corruption can never be overemphasized, because the reason why we could not move forward at this point is because of the systemic corruption that has been embedded into our culture, that become a cultural thing now. Like, and that is why all this why, not that they don't have idea, they have idea, not that they lack idea, they don't lack idea, but it's just to put things in order for us to fly in the right page, in the right direction. Until that is done, it could be, we continue to remain in this mirage.
How about now that your local governments have autonomy? Don't you think that would help in the better management of these funds, and to some extent would be able to reduce the issue of corruption in managing these allocated funds? Or do you rather think that it would be an avenue for or more room for corruption to thrive?
No, it will reduce the corruption a bit, but I may look at it from a different perspective. And what are my perspectives of view? If you look at the ways and manner in which the political leaders are looking at the things in this part of the world, is gullible and is alarming. For instance, now, we pay allegiance to the center, and all the state governor pay allegiance to the number ones in the center, because it's all about power grabbing. And then if you don't fall to the rings, automatically you are checked out. We have seen where it's played in Akwa Ibom, it's played in Rivers State, it's also played in Benue State, and other places where a governor did mention that if you did not, when you cross to our ring, your sins are forgiven. And because of that, it will also affect the state as the local government as well. Because when the godfatherism is taken out of the system, automatically it will go a long way. But in situations whereby we allow godfatherism to become part of our electioneer and become part of our system, it will begin to spur a wrong notion in the minds of men. Now, the local government autonomy have been granted. What are the structural models that have been given to them also as well? Do we think of those things? Who govern, who control the dynasties of the local government? These are things that we need to also look at as well. So now, what are the structural models of INEC? Will INEC form the election, monitor the election by themselves, or allow the state government to conduct the elections of the local government? These are also issues, red alert, that we also need to look into also as well. So if you allow the local government to be independent of the state, there need to be total independence of the state by power allocation and what have you, so that the state need to manage their resources. The local government need to manage their resources. The local government need to, control and enact the law that will govern them. With that, I think they will be able to manage their issue. But when a state government begin to impose who will become a local government chairman through the godfatherism, a state government will begin to impose who will become the councillor in the state. And then in totality, if you understand the fact that it is the party that controls the actions of those who are being given the responsibility, and if the party do not embed their doctrine of the necessity on the chairman and the members of the local council, then automatically it will become a better side of, because when power goes to the people, grows to the grassroots, and things begin to go to the grassroots, and the grassroots will begin to have a better welfare. I think nobody would want to come even to the center of the state as well, because when power goes to the people, it's
All
more
right. Thank you very much, Mr. John Ochayi. Time will fail us to, continue on this topic, but we hope that again will bring you here to further discuss, these critical issues. Thank you for your time with us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And with that, this is where we draw the curtains on Business Point with John Ochayi, who has been taking us through federal allocation and its pivotal role in driving subnational development. I am Queen Agaba. Don't forget to follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. Until tomorrow, bye for now.